What do you suppose it could be?
Well, judging by the markings and the obvious age of the relic, I'd have to say it would be garbage!
Dude, seriously. Blonde is horrible movie. I guess. Road to the Oscars 2023. This movie is nominated for 1 Oscar and it's Best Actress in a Leading Role, and thank fuck it's not anything else. This is one of the worst and most boring movies I've seen in a while. This is not just overly pretentious but at the same time artistically bankrupt. It says all it wants to say in the first hour and then proceeds to waste 2 more saying absolutely nothing. It's a biopic in the worst way, where you can't relate to the characters, barely understand what's going on, and is just a tour de force of all the horrible things that happened to Marilyn Monroe. It doesn't really comment on them, and when it does, it outright tells you what you are supposed to feel. It's an embarrassment in filmmaking on so many levels and made me yell at my TV screen multiple times while alone. It truly angered me. We follow Norma Jean aka Marilyn Monroe through her terrible life. I need to address that I might have liked this movie a bit more if it had been shorter. I thought, oh, it's not that bad throughout the beginning, but as it went on and on it only frustrated me more and more. The same mistakes and frustrating aspects didn't get better, quite the contrary. It really tells everything it wants to tell in the first hour and then has to scramble to make a biopic out of it for the remaining 2 hours. It fails at that, it rushes itself and ends up saying absolutely nothing about Marilyn Monroe, the industry, how upbringing can fuck you up, or anything. It's astounding how much of a waste this movie is, and I checked the time multiple times during my watch. I thought it was getting to a good conclusion, but then there was 2 hours left, then 1, then 40 minutes. Then 20 minutes, it was a drag from start to finish. This movie thinks it talks about something important but barely touches upon it, and when it doses it flat out tells you what you're supposed to think. Look, Monroe was objectified, let's say that out loud, while objectifying the actress playing Monroe. The character has her breasts out constantly and sometimes without any explanation or context. It's doing the exact thing it's telling you is bad. It also shames Monroe constantly for making poor life choices, especially becoming a mother. This movie has some really pro-life scenes that are unfitting and uncomfortable. Laughably bad is what they really are. She could have just not been giving her body away, settled down, constantly shaming this person that was a real human being. They try to make her more understandable with the beginning saying she had it hard, but forgets that as the movie goes on. The first half of the movie feels written by someone else entirely. This movie tries so hard. What does it try? Everything. It's constantly making new quirky things like effects on mouths, handheld, camera right in front of the characters, using what looks like a mobile phone camera, using a shitty quality camera, making lens flare, making standstills. And the worst part is the constant fluctuation of aspect ratios, black and white, color and old school cameras. The movies uses 4 different aspect ratios. Not to say anything or do something with it, it alters between them so fast it's noticeable and has no meaning for the movie. Same can be said about its black and white vs color, vs shitty camera. It just fluctuates between these without any meaning or sense. It feels like they just had 8 different cameras used because they could. And don't get me started on the lens changes. This movie looks absolutely horrible. It really pissed me off looking at it, and the way it just does things without sense or meaning. I tries to connect things, but I had no luck. At a time it changes aspect ratio and went from black and white to color to black and white again in under half a minute. It really boggles my mind how much this movie infuriated me while watching it. It's just ugly. It doesn't have a style because it has all the style at the same time. It's really a production disaster to me. The script is absolutely god-awful. While it tried to have a little sense in the first hour, after that it's just thrown out the window. It moves at a snail's pace, while rushing every aspect that should make up the biopic. The scenes seem nonsensical, and I had a hard time following the timeline of the movie. Towards the end I think that was the point, but up until then the movie had no excuse. The ending twist is also terrible and once again reinforces the shame of Marilyn more than making her likable. It comes out of nowhere and is just so dumb and adds nothing to the conclusion of the movie. The dialogue is absolutely atrocious. Every character sound like they were written and so many lines are bafflingly bad. There are so many lines that sound so unnatural and it never gets better. People don't talk like this. And the dialogue creates this tell-don't-show aspect where you are told what to think and characters constantly has to tell you what they are doing on screen. This creates some really bad acting. It is not helped by the dialogue, but I really don't think there is a single person in this movie doing a great acting job from start to finish. And there are A-listers here and all of them feel so flat and like they only got that one take. The best performance is no doubt Monroe, which is also what is up for the Oscar, and while there are some moving parts of the performance, so much dialogue fall flat and is delivered in the most basic way possible. I don't know who to blame, editor, director, actors, a combination? I don't know, but I don't see the acting as good here, again not helped by the terrible script and dialogue. This movie could have said something, and it quickly does and then moves on. How much of a man's world Monroe was in, the complex duality of Norma Jean and her alias, lost innocence and adapting, but instead the movie shows us to speedrun itself and just say Monroe did this and this was in this and this, had this and this husband, the end. It had the potential to really say something, but it's too busy being flashy and incompetent to really say anything at all. It also has so many dumb transitions, overlays and ideas that made me laugh multiple times. The big mouth screaming Marilyn, the fetus talking, the White House destroyed after the president nuts, the sperm in the sky, Niagara Falls orgasm. It's not artistic or cool, it's cringe, and combined with the no style, constant change of aspect ratio and color, it's just a big noisy movie without a voice. I really didn't like the score either. It seemed unfitting except for a few scenes and didn't lift a scene at all, instead making it even more noisy, now also audible instead of just visibly. This was a disgrace to watch, everything was bad. Acting, script, dialogue, the god-awful camera decisions. This movie is not good, stay far away. It really hurt my eyes on so many levels and didn't end up saying anything about Marilyn Monroe or the industry she was in. The pure incompetence at display in terms of editing is astounding, and the movie literally made me yell at how noisy it was. Visually, without doing anything with that. Pure and utter garbage. Oscar predictions: I don't see Ana de Armas take it for portraying Marilyn Monroe. I don't like to write actors' names when critiquing them, but it's hard not to do here. While some aspects are good and some emotional scenes and Monroe behaviorism shine through, there is also a lot of things that fall flat, most likely because the directing, editing and or dialogue is really bad. I think we're all pretty lucked in that it's either Cate Blanchett for Tar or Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once that'll take it, and if Armas takes it I would be surprised. 2/10. Anyways, thanks for watching, see you later, bye.